Going over to the cultural part of the podcast, yeah, Matt Walsh on California with their land acknowledgements as the cities in California and the state continue to burn in disarray, with LA being the poster child of riots. Now, it's brought to us thanks to Matt Walsh, hashtag or at symbol thingy, Matt Walsh blog on X. He says, quote, it's pretty hilarious that the left is no longer arguing that California belongs to the indigenous tribes that lived there hundreds of years ago. Now they say it's the rightful property of Mexico because it was claimed by the Spanish Empire. I guess we all believe the right of conquest now. No more land acknowledgements. That's progress. And that got 1.6 million views as well as 58,000 likes. I do have a contrarian statement right off the bat from Trump Tracker. He says, quote, wait, you mean to tell me that you think we have rights to land and the right to defend it, but Ukraine does not have the same rights as our country? Mentally vacuous. However, that did get 47 likes and 79 responses, with the top one, of course, probably being, well, yeah, they have the right, but they shouldn't get $180 billion from taxpayers in the United States. Zelensky says it's a good investment, though. Obviously not. Now, what's this person ratioed? Logic Illustrated responded saying, quote, Ukraine has the right to defend themselves, and they're doing it right now. It does not have the right to extort money from us to pay for it, though. I swear my shoelaces have a higher IQ than leftists, getting 44 likes. Nearly ratioed. Although, not enough. Sophie's Choice says, this might be the stupidest tweet I've seen all year, getting 6 likes. Peaches says, quote, Ukraine can do whatever it wants, just not with our money. How is that complicated to you? Getting 16 likes. Yep. Jason Hardman says, I don't see where he said Ukrainians shouldn't care. Did I miss that? Seems to say he's saying he has no obligation, being a citizen of another country, to care about and fund another country's conflict. But what do I know? California, though, getting 18 likes. Going back to the main comment section, you have anti-woke memes, or as I call them, anti-woke memes, because it sounds fancier. He says, Columbus did nothing wrong. There's a picture of Christopher Columbus pointing to a globe, and it says, quote, Columbus did nothing wrong. He brought much needed diversity to this hemisphere, because diversity is our strength, getting 1.1 thousand likes, which is quite a few to say the least. Penelope Benedict says, quote, Texas belonged to Mexico too. They can reclaim it anytime. Getting 43 likes, and yeah, that would even with all the cartels and all the resources there, yeah, Mexico ain't taking back Texas anytime soon. Sam White says, the left thinks that any Spanish-speaking person is indigenous to America, getting 623 likes. Dan Haymore says, quote, the interesting part of the California colonialism story is that the area was taken first by Spain, who slaughtered 100,000 natives, then Mexico, who killed another 80,000, until we finally won the land in the war, and then killed almost no one. But we're the bad guys. Getting 2.5 thousand likes. Crazy Vibes also says, quote, mass invasion of a country is an act of war. A government failing to protect a country is an act of treason. Got 185 likes. Peter Herrera Mariano says, quote, the land was promised to us by our Mayan gods. We're not invading. We're just returning our ancestral homeland. Sound familiar? Getting 44 likes. Disclosure says, quote, the same morons will scold anyone waving Confederate stars and bars for supporting, quote, losing side, unquote, getting 700 likes. Arian Aurelius says, quote, doesn't that also mean that Ukraine belongs to Russia by the same logic? Not sure they'll reconcile that one. Getting 330 likes. Gamma Taker says, I think the 4D chess move here is to agree and let Mexico reclaim California and see how all the leftists there feel about it. 175 likes. We also have Anti-Woke Memes. It says, not stolen, conquered. It's a picture map of the United States divided by when we conquered all the different areas. Let's see. Yeniana Dudayas says, quote, when did the United States defeat Mexico? In 1846, part of the agreement was for Mexico to give up the colonized lands, today's California, Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, and parts of Oklahoma, Kansas. While the U.S. paid $50 million in 1848 to Mexico for it, the USA kind of bought it, getting 1.1 thousand likes. Kimberly says, so then Ukraine belongs to Russia, getting 161 likes. Other Greedly says, quote, pretty sure all of them think Spanish is the indigenous language there, like no clue that Spain was a white country that colonized Mexico in the first place, getting 252 likes. I was going to say earlier this week, Matt was ratioed, or about 50-50, but it looks like pretty much everyone's agreeing with Matt Walsh at this point. Vermilius, don't try to butcher names, kind of just default or happens. Vermilius says, quote, Matt Walsh continues owning the libs because he can't debate anyone further to the right of him. Getting 222 likes. 12 comments. Was he ratioed? Jesse Hina says, quote, so you're saying that he's a moderate Republican and not an extremist retard? That's a compliment, dummy. Getting 5 likes. Going back to the main comment section, Barbaic says, quote, America belongs... What? America belongs to Italy because it was discovered by Italian and it bears the name of another Italian. A peaceful reparation. I propose you to give us your land, and give us, and we give you lasagna. Getting 28 likes. Oh yeah, I was gonna say there's a weak countries that pose no threat to anyone. I think Italy's up there. They're basically only good for Lamborghinis, Ferraris. A couple of people might debate Maseratis are quality. They're not. What else has Italy contributed to us? Beretta, oldest firearm company in the world. There's something else. That has concluded the history of Italia and what they're good for to this day. About, more or less. Let's see here. Yeah, not seeing a single contrarian statement. I have one or two more. Richard De Los Santos says, it's all just noise. The followers are lunatics. They're the worst kind of people. Getting 7 likes. Yeah, I was going to say, Matt Walsh, very good day in terms of nearly 100% agreeing with him. But as always, let me in the comments because be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. And lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone, everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.